From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you to this Monday's edition of For the People. It's March the 13th, 2017, and it is beginning to get awful cold up in the Northeast and getting ready for a lot of snow up in that area. My mother lives in New Jersey. I have a lot of family up in New Jersey and in New York City, and tens of millions of people are bracing what meteorologists are saying is the biggest storm to slam the Northeast this winter. And that's going to be a heck of a storm, and that's I don't want to be in it, but so many people are going to be stuck at airports trying to get out of Dodge and then coming to Florida to try to get out of it. But temperatures are actually dropping around here. We're looking at temperatures at night into the 40s and daytime highs into the 60s. So it's going to be going down all the way into the south. And temperatures now up in northern New Jersey, the last I looked, into the 20s. It's going to be a lot of snow. It's going to be a lot of cold. And you're talking blizzard conditions where you got weather winds kicking up to about 40 to 50 miles an hour. So that's kind of a big deal. Fox News Channel's Rick Leventhal with this report that he filed.
In municipal yards across the Northeast, we've got dump trucks and pickup trucks being mounted with snow plows, and then we've got these payloaders scooping up salt and sand and dumping it into dump trucks and spreader trucks, and those trucks are then being deployed across the region, being staged or in some cases pre-treating roads because of the most significant and perhaps most impactful storm of the Northeast this winter to hit the Northeast. A blizzard warning now in effect from midnight tonight through midnight Tuesday for New York City, Long Island, New Jersey, parts of Connecticut, all the way up to Boston. Northern Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania could see a foot of snow or more. They're talking about 2 to 4 inches falling every hour in this region, 12 to 20 inches. Perhaps more north and west of us starting early Tuesday morning with winds northwest 25 to 35 miles an hour, gusting 40 to 55, and temperatures in the upper 20s. Visibility will be a quarter mile or less. So whiteout conditions, possible coastal flooding in some areas on Tuesday. Shannon, it could be a real mess for millions of people. They say they're in full battle mode here. They have hundreds of trucks. They're ready to cover hundreds of lane miles of roadway in this county alone. But they do want people to avoid travel at all times, if possible, tomorrow.
We're suggesting that if residents don't have to drive, please stay home and make sure you get your cars off the road. We can do a far more efficient snowplow operation from curb to curb. If people put their cars up on the yard and in the driveway, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, not only do they know what they're doing, but that county supervisor, the town supervisor, is actually driving this payloader right now. All hands on deck for this one.
Well, at least he's helping out the town and doing a great job. So, folks, here you hear it right there from the horse's mouth, so to speak. We have Mayor de Blasio, residents to avoid this uncertainty of travel and help keep the roads clear for sanitation crews. And the first responders, he says, we're preparing for a significant storm tomorrow, and New Yorkers should also prepare for snow and dangerous road conditions. Here is Steve Keeley. He says, grocery cart overstuffed, $139. 2 bags of rock salt, $11. Beating pre-storm crush priceless. You want to get food. There's one thing that, you're stuck home, but if you don't got any food to eat, that's not a good thing. And the other thing, New Yorkers really have to pay attention is the loss of electricity, because if you have gusts up to 50 miles per hour and you got the wind and you got ice and you got snow, I mean, it just wreaks havoc. It could be without power, and I would not be surprised to see that not happening. Make sure, if you're listening up in the Northeast, tune to For the People, that you have plenty of warm items around. And gosh, if you could have a generator, that would be a beautiful thing to have if you could have one. But some of you are just not able to do that. But make sure that you have a plan B. Unfortunately, you hear people that get in trouble with kerosene where they just don't know how to operate these things and they start fires. But if you know how to operate one of those in a safe condition, kerosene works out really, really nice if you're smart enough to have one. Listen, I would not even attempt. I'm sure I could learn, but I don't mess with those things. But I have spent many winters up in the Northeast, and it's been several years since I've had to deal with snow and snow shoveling and all that. But like I say, I have a lot of family up there, and we know the drill. They know the drill, but power outages is a very big possibility. So warm clothes, and you have to dress in layers up there. All the things that you enjoy with electricity, heated blankets, and all other stuff. Now, if you have gas heat, that works out nice. But if you have electric heat and that goes out, and your electric heaters in New York, a lot of people have that steam heat that comes up from the broilers. So you probably will be in the dark. But with LED lighting these days, that's the best way to keep lit is with LED lights. But you want to stay warm. You don't want to get yourself sick, and you want to make sure that you have a lot of different food. You just thought that we were going to come in. We thought we were spared with the last cold front that came through, but no. Like I say, a lot of spring breakers. But I'll tell you, 20-degree weather or 62-degree weather. I think people will take the weather from the 60s without any snow. It's still beautiful here. The buds are coming out of the trees here, and that palm tree right outside my window is leaning a little to the left right now. That's beautiful Florida weather for you, and we're enjoying it here. So be safe if you don't have to be out and about in this tomorrow. That snow is going to start falling, so you got some time to prep, and you can bet that the shopping centers are going absolutely crazy. Sean Spicer, as the headlines go, the press secretary, has been ambushed. He was just trying to go into the Apple store to buy an Apple device. Some people say it was an Apple Watch. It was an iPhone, but he was, on his time, so to speak, and got ambushed by this lady that asked a question. Well, here's that exchange.
So what I was just tweeting out is...
that's Kellyanne. Do we have the fastest? There we go.
You know you work for a fascist, right? You work for a fascist. Oh, yeah. How do you feel about that? Beach, right? How do you feel about destroying our country, Sean?
How do you feel about destroying our country, Sean? How do you feel about working for a fascist? Shut up. Jeez. I mean, and most people on social media weighing in on this because this is imploding. You're going to hear it one more time. She just blasted this out in the app.
You work for a fascist, right? You work for a fascist. Oh, yeah. How do you feel about that? Beach, right? How do you feel about destroying our country, Sean?
She probably doesn't even know the full definition of a fascist. Authoritarian, whatever, communist. It's this mindset that's so ignorant and can't even allow a guy to enjoy a weekend in the Apple store. He's just a human being like you and I. He's not doing a press conference. That's one thing. But being at a store, you leave the guy alone. Guy has a family. He's got a life outside of it. Didn't deserve that. Just ridiculous. How do you deserve to wear it? It's the president of the United States. Keep your, whatever your leanings are, keep it out of the public. He didn't deserve that. It was definitely an ambush, not fair. And most people supported it again on both eyes. But that's people would do this. They would do this to embarrass him. But what was the most talked about with this whole incident was the way that Sean Spicer handled himself with a smile through the whole thing. And basically just commented about how great Apple products were. He was picking up this new thing and what a nice day it was. He did it all with a smile, did not allow it to affect him, didn't appear to act as if it really affected him in the great scheme of things. And he was very classy about it. He could have imploded, could have said some things that were out of character, but he didn't do any of those things. This woman just chose to spat off at the mouth and be ugly about things. And, of course, it was taped and on a cell phone. And, of course, this was her moment of fame. This is the only thing I can think of. This, perhaps gave her some points with her people. Maybe she's going to run for office one day. We don't know much about the lady, but just somebody in the crowd there at the Apple store. And they're always busy, I'll tell you. I don't care where you are in the country. On a weekend, it doesn't matter where you are, Tampa, Florida, be it Alexandria, Virginia, the Apple stores, they have good products. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The stuff is absolutely excellent. But this was the big encounter on social media over the weekend. And, again, ambushing Sean Spicer. And, is this about racism? What is this about? Is this about him being a fascist president? He's a misogynist. He's this, he's that. He's the president of the United States. Nobody in the right mind, nobody did these things to Obama when he was in the office. Nobody did this garbage here. The media didn't do this job because it was a love affair with them. And is it authoritative? Is it authoritarian government? Is it a fascist government when somebody actually wants accountability? Does that mean communism? Is that the definition? I don't think so. But again, it's amazing what labels people can put on people. And especially the racism card. It's just bizarre how somebody can that's a big accusation. I mean, in my opinion, to just spout off and call somebody a racist. Oh, and making news also over the weekend, Senator John McCain can't control himself because of the wiretapping and all this other stuff. So, he's a right. He's a senator. He can say what he wants because this is echoes. I think a great deal more to the left than to the right, but here he is.
President Trump has to provide the American people, not just the Intelligence Committee, but the American people with evidence that his predecessor, former President of the United States, was guilty of breaking the law because our Director of National Intelligence, General Clapper, testified that there was absolutely no truth to that allegation. So I think the president has one of two choices, either retract or to provide the information that the American people deserve, because if his predecessor violated the law, President Obama violated the law, we've got a serious issue here, to say the least.
Well, there is a serious issue, but there's an investigation going on, and Kellyanne Conway has been on the news channels, and it's amazing to see the difference between Fox News and even Newsmax, and we'll read from both of them, but how they kind of paint her in this particular box. But Kellyanne always comes out on the top, and if you quote her on her word, make no mistake about it, she's pretty clear in what she says.
So what I was just tweeting out is that we're very happy that the House and Senate Intelligence Committees have agreed to add this piece of the investigation to their existing attenuated, unproven investigation about Russia and the campaign. And we will comment further after those findings are made clear. I also would note on a different program yesterday that Congressman Adam Schiff of California, a Democrat often on TV, said that he will ask Director Comey about this when he has him in front of the committee later this month.
Sure.
So this is ongoing, but we'll comment further after the investigation.
There's no doubt about the fact that at least Michael Flynn was wiretapped. I mean, the New York Times said he was wiretapped.
Hello.
That's how they got his end of where he was talking to the Russian people.
And you know what this is about? The president has made very clear that he's incredibly concerned about these leaks from the intelligence and security communities. They're coming from somewhere.
That's
where
it.
you have a readout of his private calls with other heads of states, where you have
Where's that coming from?
That particular incident that you've mentioned, Steve. So we know this happens. As goes Trump Tower, though, we'll see where these investigations lead.
All right, so Newsmax by Sandy Fitzgerald. She says presidential counselor Kellyanne Conway said Monday that she does not have any evidence to support comments that she made over the weekend about whether surveillance measures that could be used to spy on Americans were used to eavesdrop on Trump Tower. She said that she has no evidence. Excuse me, these leaks are coming from somewhere. Didn't you just hear her? It says further that she insisted on ABC's Good Morning America anchor George Stephanopoulos